about to experience the White Stone Ceremony, which is a ceremony that is meaningful for folks in unity. And it comes from a long, long history with unity, and it is drawn from, the inspiration for it is drawn from a passage in Revelation. Now, if you were here last week, you would have experienced our burning bowl ceremony. And in that ceremony, we let go of whatever it was that we were willing to release in our past, and particularly in 2019. And we literally burned whatever it was that we were willing to release in a way that was emotionally, at least, as well as physically symbolic of just allowing it to flash away. And we used flash paper, which made it even more fun, because there is nothing left. There's no ash, there's nothing. And even for some of the papers that ended up not quite touching the flame and falling to the side of the container, even those were just magically gone. Sometimes it's just the intention is enough. And so today we play with this idea of entering the new year with a clean slate. Have you ever had this experience? That you just wish that whenever something goes wrong, that you could push a little button and restart. That you could just, if I could just reset that button. You know, the power goes out in the bathroom and you press the reset button and everything magically comes on. Well, today's ceremony is the equivalent of that. So as I mentioned, last week was that burning bowl. And if you weren't here for that and you're feeling a little disjointed because you haven't made space for something new yet, I'm going to invite you just to relax and release that thought. Because regardless of whether you were here for a burning bowl, today still can have plenty of wonderful meaning. Simply the idea of being willing to do something new will help to push the old away. So, burning bowl is a powerful process, and it isn't necessary for today to be meaningful for you. So I mentioned that this came from Scripture, and this is the Scripture, and it's found in the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 17. Let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. To everyone who conquers, who overcomes, I will give some of the hidden manna, and I will give a white stone. And on the white stone is written a new name that no one knows except the one who receives it. So that's where this white stone, what does this mean? So we're going to look at that. Metaphysically, let anyone who has an ear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. When we speak metaphysically, we know we're talking about what's going on within us. Sometimes they are thoughts, sometimes they are ideas, sometimes they are beliefs. But the names, the people, the places in story are representatives of what might be going on within us. So when we're talking about let anyone who has an ear, what we're talking about is what is it that we listen to? Well, we listen to our thoughts. So let all our thoughts be receptive to the innermost longing within us. The Spirit is that still small voice that's calling us for expansion, for growth, which is the human condition, is to expand and grow. And so we develop this inner listening by getting out of our intellect and into our hearts. Let all our thoughts be receptive to the innermost longing within us. And then, to everyone who overcomes or conquers, means when we allow our old thoughts to align, our old thoughts to fade away, and our thoughts now to align with our innermost longing, I will give some of the hidden manna. We will receive nourishment and fulfillment from within. When we think in terms of to everyone who conquers, what we're talking about is this idea of wanting to overcome some of our old beliefs, some of the voices in our head that natter at us in a way that may not be all that productive for us. And so when instead of that, we can align with that longing within us that is calling for us to know the truth of our being, to know that we are greater than the nattering that sometimes goes on in our heads, then we receive that hidden manna. What is manna? Manna is that nourishment, that fulfillment that we will get. And then, and I will give a white stone. What does the white stone represent? I did some research on this. And there's plenty of different versions of the understanding of the white stone. But all of them come down to one thing, and that is that it represents a place of freedom and a place of honor. So, for example, the white stone was given to a Roman citizen. And when they had this stone, it represented their right, just like a passport, to everything that Roman society offered. When a prisoner was released from prison after serving their time, they were given a white stone. And the white stone there was then to announce to the world and to themselves that they were now free, and that they too were now free to become a full-fledged citizen with all the rights of a citizen. There's another interpretation or understanding of the white stone that said that if you had people to dinner and you had a special guest, that they would be given a white stone. That the white stone then became a place of honor, a place that held more. The white stone, I think of it in terms of a white slate, clean slate. So there are many ways that one can understand this. Any way you look at it, it is a marker of a positive affirmation. It is a signal of something powerful, something freeing. One other example of this that I found is that once a person had conquered in the ring, in the gladiator ring, they were given a white stone as well. And that also, again, represented their freedom. Lots of things. It was also considered an admission ticket if it was a public festival. This was your way to get in. So any way you look at it, this white stone represents a lot. And it represents good. So we move to the next part. On the white stone is written a new name. Now, Dr. Emily Cady, who wrote the book Lessons in Truth, says, the white stone ceremony gives us the opportunity to choose a new secret spiritual name for ourselves, a name that resonates with qualities that we wish to develop. Metaphysically, when we speak about names, we're talking about qualities. When we name our children, we are naming them with an idea that that name represents more than just a name. Normally, names represent something. My son's name is David. I believe it represents strength. Mine, we won't go there. I told somebody that last year and they have never let me forget it. So, but names, you know, they do represent something, don't they? When we name a child, we're not just putting a name on it, we're on the baby, we're also imbuing that name with a certain intention. And so names aren't just names, they are qualities. They are about our nature. There's a symbolism to every name. And so when we're speaking about on the white stone is written a new name, what we are talking about, new name, is that we're able to be transformed with a new nature. That no one knows except the one who receives it. This is a reminder that our spiritual journey is our own. That our life journey is our own. And that one of the kindest things we can do is to stay in our own lane and to allow others to stay in their own lanes. It's not just kind, it's respectful. It's honoring the divinity of each person. And so whether you think that someone else should really work on whatever it might be, this is a reminder that it's our journey, each individual. And whatever we choose to write on our stone is private. It can be shared, but it need not be. Because our inner work is our inner work. It's for us alone, when we are ready to receive it. And so, if you take a look at that passage in that metaphysical sense, then this is how it translates. Let our thoughts be receptive to the innermost longing within us. When our thoughts align with our most innermost longing, we will receive nourishment and fulfillment from within. And we will be given freedom, a new start. We are transformed with a new nature, which is for us alone, when we are receptive. It's hard to wipe the slate clean when you use a permanent marker. And isn't it true that sometimes we find ourselves in prisons of our own making? This ceremony, this time, this new year is an opportunity to question what prisons we might have put ourselves in. What prisons are we creating that's stopping us from expanding and living that full and abundant life? We do not need to define ourselves by our past. We do not need to define ourselves by our past. We do not need to define ourselves by our past. Today is an opportunity for fresh manna, for a fresh new start. If we are willing to free ourselves from that prison and walk out into the full rights of citizenship in the kingdom of heaven, that which Jesus said, it's God's good gift to give you the keys to the kingdom. So, Reverend Frida King writes this: I ask you today, what kind of prisons have you confined yourself to that your white stone can empower you to break through? What kind of prisons and false laws are you living with? Prisons that have constrained you and held you back. This is a brand new moment. Here we are with the stone in our hand, this symbol of freedom. Step beyond the walls of whatever prisons you have put yourself in. It represents much. And we have the power to write. We have the power to go within and see what's bubbling up for us that will be our new nature for this year of 2020. Perfect vision. Let us move into that time where we close our eyes and hold that stone in your hand. And just bring your attention to your breath. With every breath, relax. Become aware of your body becoming heavy in your seat. And bring your attention to the stone in your hand. Feel how smooth it is. And feel its strength. Imagine its whiteness, a clean slate. Turn your attention inward and go within to the secret place of the Most High. The wisdom of your heart. Feel the calmness and the peace of being in this special place. Allow these words to be the words of your own heart. I am free. I have a clean slate. any moment I can choose to begin again. And I ask my heart, what is mine to learn, to grow into, to expand in 2020? As we move into a time of silence, we discern the words that we will write on the stone. If no word comes, no worry. We trust that it will. And so as we move into silence, we are open to inspiration. And we write the word on our stone that is ours and ours alone.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. I pray right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my heart. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my heart. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God.
And so we give thanks for this opportunity to begin again, knowing that we walk out of bondage with every new beginning. grateful for this opportunity to set an intention and to hold it with clear vision for 2020. Amen.